This is Empire Sports Alliance, unfiltered. No fluff, no filters, just the real side of sports. We're talking athletes, coaches, agents, doctors, executives, the people behind the scenes who actually move the needle. From building careers to surviving the grind to winning off the field. This is where real conversations collide.
Welcome to another episode of Empire Sports Alliance Unfiltered. I'm Ronnie. I'm the wealth guy. And today we got Brandon Hicklin, track and field star. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Brandon, I think we just talked, and before the show started, you're the first one at track and field that we ever had on. So this is going to be fun. Yeah, definitely good to have you on. Same thing. Normally, we start out in terms of kind of what your background is, like your journey. Again, track and field never had anybody on, but in terms of how do you get into that, right? I'm sure you played different sports growing up and all that stuff. If you just walk us through, take your time in terms of kind of what's your upbringing like, how did you get into it, and the floor is yours, please.
So for me, I played basketball, football. I tried soccer. Basketball is my number one sport. I love it to death, but it didn't go as planned. So I started running track. And the funny thing about track was my dad was like, whenever the dog would get out the house, I had to go chase the dog down. So my dad kind of knew then and there, I had some speed. So he was like, you should try running track, a couple of times. I'm like, we'll see. But when I finally stood on the track, it opened a lot of doors as far as getting to college and stuff like that, but track and field was my niche, and it became my baby. Basketball was my baby first. So track and field kind of.
How tall are you, Brandon?
I'm 6'4".
6'4".
So I could be a little. You can say I'm 6'5".
Yeah, I hear you. Trust me. Yeah, I say I'm 6'6.5", so I say I'm 6'7". But it's a stretch. Yeah. So, so I'm assuming you played shooting guard, point guard.
What's crazy is I played center.
You played center?
Yeah, the high school I went to was, we were on the shorter side, but I was athletic enough to, compete with the big boys down there. Once we got a tall guy to come onto the court, I would go to a small forward.
Okay.
And I was there for defense. I can move my feet pretty well for a taller guy.
Oh, I was going to say, if you move from center to small forward, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll just quick on the court.
So from an age perspective then, when did this all start? You started with basketball? That was your first one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How old were you?
How old are you in middle
school? Not that long ago. You're not that old. You're like, back in the day.
How old were you in middle school, like 13, 14?
Yeah.
I believe. That's when I played basketball. Track, funny the story is, I only started running because I wanted to impress girls. So that's why I started track.
Hold on, get out of here. One second. This is a good one. So you basically played basketball. I mean, that some girls are pretty impressed by that too, man.
What's crazy, you'd be surprised. Some girls like a guy who can run fast. Yeah.
Trust me, I would have not been a good fit for track and field, so I don't know how that feels. But that's what you're on for. You're going to share that story with us. So, so even though you play great basketball, great footwork, you decided to go track and field. And tell us more about track and field and your social life after you made that choice.
So after running track, social life for me, because I was very quiet. I was being that kind of person, but track and field kind of opened me up to networking with people, talking to people. And new people everywhere, even talking to coaches, talking to pro athletes, getting advice from them. So it really just opened up the floor for me a lot, even though I'm a quiet person, but I had to realize I have to be social to, get better in the sport. Ask those questions for athletes.
That's kind of interesting. Again, you're coming from basketball, you play football as well, team sports, right? So if you have a play, you get in a huddle, you have discussions. Where you go to a sport, all you see is a certain distance ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
So walk us through that, because that is so different from an approach, I would imagine.
So going from a team sport to an individual sport is a whole nother ballgame, because it's like people you train with are your competitors.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to give advice, but at the same time, they can give you advice to want to beat you. But, it depends on the person. They can give you advice to help you, but also get an edge on you, knowing that, you ask me for advice, knowing that you might be weak in this part of your run or whatever, but I can capitalize on it while I'm racing you. So it's like, you got to be real careful, but at the same time, still have fun with it.
But I mean, again, I could imagine if you're on a basketball team, let's just go with that, and you kind of exchange from a shooting perspective, etc. That's a different type of discussion than you have when you run against somebody and maybe you see a certain weakness in the way you're not going to tell them that per se, not because you don't
No.
want to, but there's only one that can, go through the
Yeah.
finish line first, right?
Because there's only 3 places, first, second,
Yes.
third, and of course, you want to get the first. So if a guy has a flaw in his running style or where his weakest part of the race is, you want to kind of keep quiet about it, depending on who the person is. But
Sure. But pretty much
it's still
everybody,
fun.
because again, you still race against it
Yeah.
potentially.
Mhm.
So, okay. So again, so you're about 14 now. You realized, obviously you just concentrated fully on track and field. That was it.
I was still playing basketball while running track.
Okay.
Like at high school, I was at basketball season before track season.
Mhm.
So with that, my track speed would kind of help with basketball because we would do miles. We would do like a mile, 800, 400, 200, 100 during our training.
Yeah.
And I would be that guy who went to I can say I would jog, but I would kind of like cruise the mile, cruise to 800, cruise to 400. When it came to that 200 and 100, I started sprinting in. The coach realized, he was like, "Yeah, it's sandbagging." I was like, "Yeah," to one guy, challenged me a little bit. I had extra breath for real.
Oh, that's
So
okay.
it
So
was
when did
fun.
you kind of realize, again, as you're doing this is kind of coming easy to you? Was there a moment in time where you're like, I can play basketball, but I'm pretty good at this stuff?
Yeah, and the funny story about that is, I only realized it when I started doing long jump.
Okay.
Cause I did long jump, high jump, triple jump.
Okay.
That's when I kind of realized I like flying in the air. So I kind of use my long jump, but my penultimate step on the basketball court, and I would just fly in the air. I was like, "Ooh, this is fun," cause I'm above everybody.
Okay. Okay. So then at one point you have to focus fully in terms of concentrate on track and field, right? You can't do both, right? At what point was that?
I would say my junior year of high school, around that year, I realized my dad was trying to, say, "Hey, you need to focus on your dribbling, your shooting." Meanwhile, I was really focused on watching guys like Jeff Henderson do long jump.
Uh-huh.
Half the time, like, yeah, my focus was mainly towards track, but basketball was still, my backhand corner. But I knew for a fact, given that going pro with track and field is a little more guaranteed than with basketball, even in colleges. Like, you got to be the number one coming out your state to get a scholarship at a good school for basketball. But track and field, you can maybe run or jump a good distance or run a good time and get to a D1 school, and they'll develop you even more. But it's just slightly easier for track and field and basketball.
Okay. So
That was my wake-up
again,
call.
okay, I hear you there. So in terms of that, is high school now, right? So at one point, what was the transition like from high school to college?
That one, say, being the best guy in your state and going to a college when you're not the best person, it kind of hits you. You get humbled real fast because you can be number one in your state, the best guy in your high school team, but going to a college, you're no longer the best. For guys who are better than you, even coming in better than you. So I didn't really go against guys outside of South Carolina. Once I got to North Carolina, I'm like, oh, these guys are kind of better than me. I got to step my game up. But that's just guys globally that you're competing against now. So it's no longer just one state. It's everybody who you're going against. It's you versus
on a
the world
national
now.
level, and then if you go further than that, now it's an international level, right?
Yeah, that was a quick wake
Well,
up.
let's talk a little bit more about that. So you moved over to North Carolina A&T, right? So that's where you went to start a college. So you get there and it's like, all right, now there's all these other dudes that, are pretty fast or faster than you. What do you do next? What's your mindset of this?
What's crazy was I didn't run in college. I only did long jump. That's the funny part.
Oh, all right.
Believe it or
Don't be
not,
holding back on us. Tell us more. So you only did long jump when you got into college.
So my scholarship, they knew I could run some, but they didn't know I could actually run for real. So I would run, like I said, basketball in high school. I would run the 200, 100. I ran the 200 in high school. I went like 21.3, 21.4. That was still kind of fast in my state. But, then going to college, I did long jump only. So but at practice, I would do sprint work with the sprinters. I would beat them sometimes here and there, but the coach for me, he was like, you belong on the sand pit. That's what you went to school for, to do long jump. So for me, all 4
You
years
were
of
on a
college,
scholarship for that?
just jumps.
Yep.
I was triple in long jump, but I predominantly went to long jump. I gravitated towards that more because it was a little easier. But yeah, I didn't sprint none in college.
3 steps in between, and then
that's a
I
lot
want
on
to
the
hear more
knees.
about that because I don't know much about track and field, so this is interesting.
Yeah, triple jump is like, I want to say like 3, maybe 5 times your body weight hitting the ground that hard. and that puts a lot on your knees. Versus long jump, you're hitting the ground once and you're in the air.
Yes.
So after a while, my knees started hurting. Like, I can't continue doing both these two events.
Yeah, plus
so
you're also 6'4", you have a certain body weight that comes with that, right? So, okay.
It's harder for the taller athletes, especially with triple jump, because your knees. So, like I said, went to long jump, kept jumping, still being, I ain't just say a practice dummy, but like a practice person for sprints at practice, predominantly only at practice, never at meets. Just long jumping. That was funny is I broke the school record my first year there.
Okay.
Broke it. No, I had no idea for 4 years. I'm thinking the record was like 26. It had no idea. It was 25. It was 25.8, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe it. It was something around the 25 range. And I just broke it. Had no idea.
Did they tell you eventually? Oh, they kept it to themselves. They wanted to
one of the guys
motivated. Okay, got it.
Yeah, one of the alumni guys, he told me because he was mad. He's like, "You broke my record. You broke my record." I'm like, "When did I break it?" He's like, "You broke it your first year, actually. Nobody told you." I'm like, "Oh." And my last year there, I broke it again in 26.11. Had no
That's
idea.
your own now. So you're extending your own record. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'll go back and break it again, but it is what it is. I don't jump anymore.
I'm not sure these days. Even these days, I don't think you're eligible anymore. But hey, who knows?
I have one outdoor left. I think it's expunged now, but I don't know. I've been told I got outdoor left. He's like, you to come back to school.
So how long were you at North Carolina then?
All 4 years.
4 years, okay. And you transferred after that. You transferred to LSU.
Yeah, that's when COVID hit. Somehow I got a full year back. Somehow I was thankful for that.
Because of COVID. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for transition to being a pro because I knew for a fact going pro as a field event person is really hard because you got to be number one actually. And, jumping 26.11 is nothing. They want 27 and up. So COVID hit. I got the opportunity. Reached out to me and like, "Hey, do you want to come to our school?" I was like, "Can I run?" It was like, yeah. Mind you, they ain't know I can run.
Up to this point, you haven't run. This is just long jump for 4 years. Okay.
My senior year, I ran the 100. I ran the 100 one time. I went 10.5.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the post on my Instagram. I went 10.5. I'm like, yeah, that's all they knew. But the coach, he kind of threw me in last minute. He's like, "Go run." I was like, I went 10.5. That's nothing what kids can do now. After that, I went to LSU. And we had some kind of what's the test called? Ultimate test or something like that, where it's like you do run, jump, throws, front and backwards, and that's it. And they get your numbers. Coach Shaver he still has no idea I know how to sprint. He think I'm just a jumper. So I'll go in there for the test for the sprinting part, beat the sprinters. He was like, "You can sprint?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you tell me?" For what? I need to tell you anything. Then Javon Harrison, I went against him in the long jump. Him was battling the long jump record for the penultimate. The throws, I was just call it what that is. Keep it pushing. But that's when my sprinting opportunity actually showed there. I wanted to show them I can actually run because my dad told me to run one time. He said, "Run, please. I want to see you run."
Yeah. Well, so the girls like it, you said. So there you go.
That too. That too.
But no, so how was what made you decide to transfer to LSU?
That was my dream school. Growing up, playing college football, my dad was like, "You always pick LSU. Why is that?" I'm a kid. I like the color purple. My mom like yellow, so purple and yellow. So that kind of only purple team I knew of was LSU.
Yeah.
So I stuck with them. I knew nobody on the team.
All right. So that was always your school. So you wanted to be at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How did your time there change you in terms of like from an athlete as well as a person? It was a different world, or I mean, that's a big SEC school. So how was that? What's the impact there?
So coming from HBCU, I was a little more self-centered. I wouldn't say cocky, but very confident. I was told I was cocky, but I feel like I was very confident as a person. So when I got to LSU, the whole dynamic of that training group for college kids was different. I had to, stop being so self-focused on myself and like, hey, you need to kind of care about the team as well because, it's not just you out here. We're a family here. So that kind of, changed me then and there. My whole mental completely changed. I'm like, yeah, now I have to become a caring person. I just think about I have to get it on my own. I have to be selfish. But that kind of woke me up like, hey, look, whenever your teammate's doing bad, try to pick them up and uplift them more. It's not a team sport, but also we're a team. Yeah. Football 1, XYZ, we're a team. We look after each other. So I had to realize that, going in there. So my whole mental just changed completely.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Again, I only played team sports. So in terms of like, I guess there is a shift in mentality and approach, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your time. It's just you, right? It's just like playing with it. So then you might not have the same type of approach from a team. You are a team, but then at the same time, you're measured individually, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's interesting. And there you became an NCAA champion there, right? What was that like?
That was actually fun because I was the first leg for the 4x1, and we broke the collegiate record. Now it's been broken again. From Auburn, those guys, they shouted it. But running that 4x1 team was me first leg, Dorian to DeMarcus to Godson. That was a great team. Fun. Yeah. We always had fun running together. We always uplifted each other, and that's when that whole team aspect of mental check on your teammates. Be that person who checks on them, and that's what my job was, be on the 4x1 team. Make sure all the guys are good. Are we in link still? And that experience was fun. Just seeing that time when we ran it, I was speechless. I was like, so now we broke the collegiate record, and it's not even nationals. We did it at regionals. That was amazing. I was like, oh, we got to beat it again. Going in nationals, but things happen, and we still got the job done. But I wish we would run a little faster. Just a tad bit.
So then again, once you're done with school, what was the next step? Like, now you're thinking, how does that work for a sprinter? Are you still doing long jump at this point, or
I was slightly doing it still, but I started leaving the sand pit to stay on the track. So my transition was a little difficult because once I finished, I didn't have any offers from anybody, no agents, no nothing. So for me, I had to start reaching out to agents like, hey, I'm a sprinter. My best time was 10:12. Legally, illegally was 9:98. That's wind dated, so it doesn't count technically.
Yeah.
So having a legal time of 10:12, that's subpar. I didn't have any sprint knowledge. I wasn't coached to sprint.
Yes.
So I had to reach out to agents, and nobody reached out back to me except for one agent named Kimberly Harlan. She gave me a chance. Like, look, I'm gonna give you a chance to run. See what you got. You believe in yourself. Take risk on yourself. I see what you got. We'll rock it out and see how it goes. So with her, I had a chip on my shoulder because I'm the guy coming in who has no sprint knowledge, who's just running, who was the jumper and they can sprint. So once she gave me an opportunity, so put me in meets, I started running, 10-0s. Then all of a sudden I bust out a 9:98 LSU, and that opened doors for me to go overseas and start running there. That's when I started running faster overseas. That's when, they say times count overseas a little bit more because they say we cheat in the States, at our time and stuff like that, but not true.
How would you cheat? Time is time. I don't understand. Like, how does that work?
Because some people so with the running certain events, there's a wind gauge. And some people be like, oh, they're hiding the wind gauge, so the wind is on their back, making them run faster so they can get these times in. And that's kind of how you can cheat it. It's that, and sometimes people stop the clock too early.
All right. Stop it too early?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like it's that, and some of the blocks don't have any sensors on them. So when it's a sensor block, if you false start, it catches automatically. Okay. Or if your foot's not on that pedal, because there's some amount of pressure you could put on it, it lets the sensor know you're there. So when there's meets where there's no blocks, sometimes people false start and they get away with it, and they run a faster time.
Oh, I see.
So that can happen, and you can't do anything
about it.
So
up to this point, though, you haven't really received any coaching on the sprinting itself. You only ran for the long jump. Can you kind of walk us through? I just remember the movie with Jesse Owens when they were going through in terms of like the strides and all that stuff. I don't know. How does that work? How do you, because again, for a tall guy, right, these longer strides, are you trying to shorten that? How does that work? Can you kind of walk us through that?
So coming from a tall athlete, running against people who are shorter than you, it's like you're not going to get your feet down faster than them. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Due to them being
from a pure physics perspective, not possible, right? Obviously, there's
it's not possible. So, shorter sprinters they can get down more frequency, getting their feet down faster than a person who's taller than them. But the taller person gets a longer stride than they do. So for a taller athlete, you have to figure out how to get your feet down just as fast, but also keeping your stride open. That's the difficult part. If you look at Usain Bolt,
so you almost have to be flatter then, because obviously there's power in that as that stride is longer as you pull, right? So, sorry, go ahead.
Very good. So yeah, you just gotta move those feet, and your hands match your feet. So the faster you move your hands, the faster your feet gonna move. But at the end of the day, a shorter sprint is gonna get you from the first maybe 30 to 40 meters. They're gonna get you hands down. You can't do anything about it. It's your job as the taller athlete to realize, hey, look, you're gonna beat me here, but I'm gonna catch you in the long run. It doesn't matter
60 meters left, right? So you're saying you're giving up 30, 40 meters. You just keep it close you can, and then the last 60 you go, huh? All right.
You got you have to figure that part out. That's for me. That was the hardest part of my race. I had to figure out how to get out the block fast while also gradually getting faster as I go. Because, as a sprinter, sometimes people tend to want to, the first 60, they're blasting it. But the last 40 are the gas.
Yeah.
So you got to find that common ground to where, you got to bite the bullet somewhere. You're going to bite in the beginning or you're going to try to fight yourself at the end. So you just got to figure that part of your race out.
I mean, one way or the other. Again, you have to basically sprint to your body, right? It's almost like playing a certain position. Normally, just saying normally, centers are not 6'4", right? So you
No.
just basically I'm gonna have a tough time. But so normally, again, just depending on your body, you have to kind of figure out what works best for you. And I think that's where coaching comes in. I would imagine, right? You watch film. Is there like they go through it? How does that work?
So watching film as a sprinter is actually very difficult because everybody's different heights. Everybody runs differently. So like for me, I typically watch Tyson Gay and Asafa Powell from Jamaica because Tyson Gay had the frequency with his hands, but
that was
Asafa
what, 15 years ago? How long ago was that? Because you're talking about guys that I remember from watching.
It was a long time ago. Those are guys who you can study. Look how they're running. Asafa, his draw phase, I mimic his because it's the fact of he's tall. So even Bolt, his style was he was the dog. He gets out. I was like 35, 40-ish meters, and he stands up. That's what I started realizing. Like, hey, look, these two guys are tall. I got to figure out what works for me. So I got to mix Tyson Gay's style with the Asafa style with Bolt style. So I can't look at people like Christian Coleman or I think another athlete, Johan Blake, Oblique Seville. Those guys they're shorter than me. So they're going to get their feet down faster than me. So I can't really study them. I can watch them all day, but I can't mimic what they do because they're shorter than me. So I have to watch athletes who are, similar to my running style and kind of tweak how they run and add it to how I run. Studying that film is, you got to figure out what works best for you. Even coaching, they got to figure out this guy's 6'4". Meanwhile, his teammates like 5'8". How can I, better him while also bettering him at the same time? Because shorter guys try to get a longer stride while running and still keep their frequency, but you got a taller guy who wants to get faster frequency and by keep his stride open. You gotta figure something out. And that's the harder part for coaches to figure out everybody's not the same. So you got to figure out what works for everybody else.
So that's the physical aspect of running and sprinting, right? And now are we talking about 100 meters at this point?
It can be both.
Okay, 200 as well as 100.
Yeah, it works both ways.
Since we're talking about other sprinters, did you ever watch any tape on Carl Lewis?
Yeah, I surely did. Even him jumping, I watched all of that.
No, because 100.
He just did 100. I believe, just 100.
Yeah,
he was a stepper.
Yeah, how tall was he?
Stepper. I want to say he was like what, 6'3".
Yeah, he wasn't short either. What I'm saying is, for you, someone like you could look at a guy like this in terms of like, hey, okay, if you want to kind of master your game after that, okay.
Because the terminology, he ran like a jumper.
Yeah,
in a way. So like jumpers, they have a long shot and they just kind of. I used to say he was floating a little bit, but he's just floating.
So what if you compare a guy? And again, we talked before, a guy like Carl Lewis with like a Michael Johnson. What is your, how was his style different?
Ooh.
I mean, Johnson, we talked before. He had that arch. He was like, I remember.
The arch in his back, the chest out, chin was back here, just swinging them arms. But Lewis, he was just, he got his knees up. I don't think, Johnson didn't get his knees up. He was just rolling. Lewis got his knees up while moving his hands. So, him being taller, he has to get his knees up. But if he was to get bring more frequency to how he ran, he probably ran 9.8 at least, or 9. Yeah, a 90 9.8. If he got more frequency in his feet, getting his feet down, he was a stepper, and he ran 9 from the back and not the front. Because the shorter guys always got out on him. If he would have had a good start back then, he would have been stepping now.
Yeah, that's okay. Interesting. So this is the physical aspect. What about from a mental side in terms of sprinting? Like, how does that impact things? Or, how do you approach it? Because obviously there's a lot of like, you get on there, right? You see the competitors next to you. Is there any trash talking going on? You're kind of trying to get on people's skin?
Yeah.
Well, you're the first guy who actually admits that. That's good because I always ask that question. So
it's like nobody sees that part of the race, but mentally, like going in, it's like some people do something funny to get on, like get you to not be serious. So like there have been times where I've been races to be like, "You smell that? What? Oh, I saw somebody scared over here. He's scared."
Okay.
So, yeah, it's that and like getting into the blocks. Some people have like rituals, like routines that they do, and it's kind of like, come on, you take it too long. Like let's get into it. Like I'm down and set. My head's down, ready to go. You still getting on the blocks, taking your sweet time. So it's like, yeah, it's certain things people do unintentionally to throw you
Yeah,
off
of
your
course.
game. It's stuff like that. But
Unintentional.
like going into race mentally, you gotta keep a clear head.
Yeah.
Just
You
keep it clear.
you gotta
Don't
go
think.
in and from a perspective, all you see is your time, your race. So
Yep.
how was your preparation? So you didn't look left, right, you just went to your block, you didn't say a word? Or
Nope. I don't speak.
did you initiate some trash talking or just looking at people shaking their head, maybe whatnot?
Yeah, you ain't fucking about that. I typically do mine in the car room. So
So
that way,
before. Okay.
we get to the blocks, I'm in the car room, talking like, "Hey, how you feeling, my man? How, you look knees hurting a little bit." I'm talking to you as you're trying to lock in, trying to get in your
Yes.
head. It depends who you are. Like, if I know you personally, like, I'm actually cool with you, I have I know something about you to, get on your skin a little bit, just throw you off a little bit to see if it'll work.
Yeah.
But I always keep it friendly and keep it fun.
That reminds
Keep
me
it
of, I
funny.
don't know if
Keep
you
it
ever
funny.
seen the Pump and Iron, the movie. That's obviously an older one with like Arnold and Lou Ferrigno. And Arnold basically coming in, you're so loud, this and that. You're just talking, this kind of like, like just, it's all funny. But again, it's obviously it can mess with people's preparation. I guess it just depends what kind of competitor you are. Some people might be rattled more so than others, right? So, but you
Still
initially
fun.
said you were a quiet guy, then you went to LSU, and at one point, so it seems like to me you did talk a little trash, or at least you tried to get under people's skin. You had a strategy about it. That's awesome.
It's fun. You gotta have fun out there. That's my version of fun. Trying to get your skin a little, just a tad bit. Just strike a little nerve to get
Yeah.
get you to be off your game.
That's awesome. That's good. So what happens after mentally if you have a bad race, let's say, you're done, you're coming in like it just didn't go well. What happens afterwards? Because obviously you're going to have to go out there again.
So it's like, it's best to have a short-term memory loss with track and field. They always say you're good at your last race, but if you keep thinking about your last race, it's over and done. You can't do anything
Yeah.
about it. Just make it
You
up the
can't
next
go back,
race.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Short-term memory is the best memory you can have with track and field. Just you ran the race, cool. Forget about it. You're as good as your last. They say you're as good as your last race, but be better.
And then you just okay. What about we talked a little bit about the 100-meter versus the 200-meter? Can you kind of event kind of feels more natural to you? Is it the 100? Is it the 200?
For me, it's the 200 because the 100 you can't make any mistakes. You make a small mistake, it can cost you.
Yeah.
But in the 200, it's not like you're not blasting the whole thing. It's impossible unless you run the 400. You have the 400 stamina to run the full thing. But each part of the race, you got to set it up perfectly. So you can make a flaw in your block start for the 200, but still go out there and win the race. It just depends on how good you can recover, and not think about how you're running.
What would a mistake be? You're saying basically the way you get out of the block, you're too late, you're feeling it, or that could be a mistake?
Is that and popping up at the block. So you have a drive phase. If you come up too early, that can affect your race. It's a matter of how can you come back, can you get your stuff back, get yourself back together and run still. That's happened, a couple times. But it happens.
So how much
is that and stumbling?
Second, stumbling?
Yeah, stumbling off the block.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
that happens.
That could really finish your face. Your race right off the bat, huh? So in terms of 200-meter raw speed versus kind of controlling the curve and all that stuff, what's bigger, better? Does it depend on the runner, or how do you do that? How do you?
I say that depends on the runner because some people are like, I'm using Noah for example. Noah Lyles. He's not a front runner. He's going to catch you the last 50 meters. So he's more so finesse. I would say Kenny Benaric's more so speed. He's going to beat you the first 150. It's your job to go catch him. And Kenny runs a solid 200. He's solid. He doesn't make any mistakes.
Okay.
So it just depends on what type of runner you are.
Okay. So again, like in any other sport, it just depends. You're kind of shaping your game towards who you are.
Yeah, it's so fun. But you got to have your own type of style you want to do.
What do you think the hardest part about it is? I know we talked about some of the mistakes you can make, but what do you think the hardest part about 200 meters is?
The last 50 meters. The last 50 meters, because that's when you typically start getting fatigued. And it's a matter of, can you stay relaxed while being fatigued, and moving them hands still? Because if you get tight, I've done it before, get my tilting my chin back.
Talking about moving your hands, okay?
Yeah, because your legs getting heavy, so you got to set your wrist up perfectly.
I mean, you're kind of going full speed, right? So
yeah, that's
a long distance. But have you tried the 400 meter ever or no?
I thought about it. My dad keeps telling me you need to run the 400 for training. I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. I won't. but he keeps, I need to do it. It'll actually help me more with more endurance in that 200. Like I said, Kenny Benerick, Noah Lyles, Fred Curley, they ran the 400 in their past, so their bodies knows how to relate their endurance and their speed.
Yeah.
I need to
So
I
yeah,
need to do that more.
the 2026 championship field kind of was kind of like, that was a lot of stars, big names on that one, right? So how was that? How did that feel?
For the 100 or 200?
Either,
Or
both,
both.
altogether.
The 100, I was consistently at 10 though, but in that field, it was a stacked field. It was more so for me surviving in advance, to the next round and get to that final. Because that's when, it matters the most in the final. And, I made a mistake, but I should have hydrated more because my body started cramping up while being out there.
You said you had cramps?
Yeah, calves.
Oh,
It wasn't a bad cramp, but I can literally feel my calves getting tight, running. Cause I ran, 2 rounds before that. And it's hot out there. It was just a lot going on. I'm not using it as an excuse, but I can do better. 200, in the prelim, we had a nasty headwind. The heat I was in, it wasn't a stacked heat. I was really by myself. I was on an island. I was in lane 9 or 8, one of them. And beside me was empty, so I can't see anybody. So I'm just out there running, like a headless chicken, staying, staying in my own lane and just running. And then the last 30 meters, a coach is like, see where you're at in the race. Peak, but don't make it obvious. Like, peak, see you beside you. And I peaked a little bit. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm fine. I don't need to push it any further. Because I was running
coach
into
told you not to peak.
He said it's like, give it a little sock better, see where you at in the race. You don't want to push too hard because you got to run a 200 the next day. Peaked, my legs still a little fatigued because I ran 100 before that. Then the final, it was me, Noah, and Garrett all running together. Noah said he cramped up. I ran that race solid, but the last 50 meters, fatigue caught me. So I wish I would have just hydrated more, something a little more different, make sure I could finish the race off, short-term memory, got to keep pushing. But, on the mental aspect, that was what.
So what's next on the agenda for you and your career?
My next race is in Switzerland.
Zurich,
on
right?
the 21st, Dominique final. Oh, this is Dominique final. Dominique meet.
Yeah, that's in Zurich, right? The track and field. Yeah, I'm very familiar. Partly,
they love me over there. They love me. It's funny. Yeah, they're like, Brandon Hicklin. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I
it's
love
almost,
it.
that last name. I actually went to school in Switzerland, so I have family over there. So I'm very familiar with that, track and field event. So that's good. You like to go there? What's the experience like over
I
there?
love Switzerland. Yes. The food there is good. The ice cream is fire.
Ice cream?
And the chocolate.
Dude, you were talking about the food at LSU. You talk about chocolate and ice cream. And I'm like, meanwhile, you're a sprinter. It's not bad.
After the meet, though. Only after the meet.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Probably not be good if you go with, ice cream before it. But it's good. Bubbly. So you like the international aspect of, again, the track and field sport in general. I think it's a little different, right? Talk about basketball, football, mostly like you're playing domestically. So, I mean, you kind of get to travel the world a little bit, right?
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And it's not on my dime. They're paying for it.
That's always the best part about it. So, but what is, in your opinion, switching gears a little bit in terms of not just the sport, but the reality of being a professional athlete, right? The business aspect of it in terms of like, how does that feel? What do you come? You were talking about, getting an agent. Obviously, there's a business aspect to it, right? Tell us a little bit more in terms of what you experienced on that note.
So on my end, I had to get an agent first. Then once I met her, I started asking her questions like, how do I need to get a financial advisor? Do I need to get this, and this? She was like, yeah, because, you help budgeting your money because you're only as good as your last race, even with paying you. Track and field, we get paid quarterly. Everybody's contract is different. So you have to spend your money very wisely because eventually proper time catches everybody. And once that time is up, what do you have left? And if you got money left, do you plan on investing that money and stuff like that? So I had to, recognize how to budget money very well, and have somebody, on standby, a financial advisor, an investor partner, a CPA. You have to have all that, because if you don't, it's gonna bite you.
Yeah.
So I had to,
I'm imagining you have also some sponsorship money coming in, right? Endorsement and all that stuff. I think, again, I'm on the wealth side of things. That's, when I normally introduce myself as a wealth guy, that's why. And I think you're bringing up a good point from a perspective of like that money that you're getting paid. You owe taxes on that. A lot of
Yeah.
young athletes, which you're certainly a young athlete as well, they don't realize that, right? So that's, if you get, you know, $10,000 isn't really $10,000 in terms of the planning
Yeah.
ahead, especially collaborating with the agent, building that team around the athlete. I think is really important. So good for you. Elaborate maybe a little bit more. When I just think about the sponsorship, the endorsement, all that stuff, and now I'm kind of switching into the social media aspect of things. I see this with other sports, right? I mean, you have to be really cautious. What's your advice to athletes when it comes to social media and not messing things up from a sponsorship, basically revenue perspective? Because I feel like sometimes you see these people getting themselves in trouble for no
Yeah.
particular reasons, which has not even anything to do with the sport. It just might be who they're hanging out with, what they're liking, where they're taking pictures and all that stuff. Have you had any
Yeah.
situation yourself? Is there stuff that you're like, hey, dudes and gals, don't do this, don't do that?
So the best thing to do is, well, me, like I said, me personally, I had to get media trained on how to speak, because some things you might say, they can go the wrong direction. So you have to be careful what you say and how you say it.
You have an
And make sure
example?
you pronounce.
Did you say
I, don't know,
something?
I just know people who say certain things.
Yeah.
You can't just judge or say too much about certain things, because even though you might not believe in it, don't save your comments. Save the comment, because you could be offending somebody else who believes in this. So just mouth shut. Even with like I said, social media, my dad always told me, what you do in your past can come back and bite you in the ass.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You have to be very careful what you say, because it could be something from years ago. Maybe you was in high school, middle school, you said something that was inappropriate, and now, in today's times, that's seen as discrimination or anything above that. So you have to be very careful, because, videos, they never die. Your
They never
thread is
die.
always there forever.
Now, I always feel like, I've talked to some retired athletes, some of them are clients and stuff, in terms they didn't have to go necessarily through that kind of stuff, right? As you can probably see, that's, I'm a Jets fan. So from that perspective, you think about Joe Namath back in '69, of the stuff that guy pulled, probably, right? We don't know. Some of it is documented. You probably couldn't do today from a perspective of all the cameras, the social media that's around. And then again, all of a sudden, I mean, obviously you won a Super Bowl, but in terms of motivation could be questioned for no particular reason, all that stuff. So yeah, I think, with the clients, that I work with, I think the best thing is you can be opinionated, do that later after your career is over, because, these days it seems like everybody gets offended for anything, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's out of boredom, so to speak. So yeah, I think that, you would probably see that as, again, you definitely see it as well from social media being kind of can be a trap, and that can really impact your revenue from a
Yeah.
perspective of endorsement and sponsorship for no reason, right? So
You could, a lot of brands are very supportive of certain things that you might not believe in. Just don't say nothing.
Yeah.
That pays your bills. You don't mess up each other's money.
if you think about it, it's actually fairly easy. Do nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best bet. Do nothing.
Yes.
Just
It's
don't say
easy.
nothing.
That's good stuff.
Be that neutral person. Just, y'all
what's-
support that? Cool.
Yeah. What's from an age perspective, where's the cutoff? How old are you now?
27.
27. Where do you see, like, how many 35-year-old sprinters do you have?
The only guy I know, I think AB's 33 or 34.
Yeah.
He's from Canada.
Okay.
He's still running. He's still
Okay.
running 20.0, 10 O's and 100. Yeah, he's still stepping at a 33, 34 year old man. Then there's Kyrie King. He is 32, I believe. They're running 20.0 in the 200. So yeah, it
I
varies with
hope it's in
everybody
the
else.
200, not the 100. That would not be good. It's like, I could beat this guy.
I'll say my cutoff would probably be like 30, maybe 36. If I'm still running, I know speed's going to digress.
Sure.
I would just change events. Go maybe around the 400.
What about if you think about this kind of stuff? I mean, again, and you have, a subject matter expert advisors around you. What do you think would be the life? What does a life look like after you're done running, long jumping, and all that stuff? Could it be in TV? Could it be content creation for like that
Yeah.
sport? What do you think?
I've started to talk to certain people about, getting acting, getting the modeling slightly. I mean, I've been told, you need to model. You're tall enough, handsome. I might think
That will
about it when I
definitely
get
get
done.
you some more attention, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're going from basketball to track, and now you go to modeling. Yeah, it's good.
I've talked to guys in Nike and women in Nike. Hey, if y'all need any models for these clothing and stuff like that, I'm just gonna hit me up a little bit. It gets me out there. My face out there more.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get into that slightly more.
I think it's important to have a plan, a little bit of an idea, some discussions in terms of, because again, father's time, as you mentioned, it's going to get you one way or the other,
Can't run from them.
But if you can combine it in terms of kind of being involved in the sport that, obviously you love, why not? Right. So,
Yeah. Use it while you got it, because when time's up, your connections, they can sometimes fade.
yeah.
You start to become irrelevant. So you got to stay relevant however you can. The social media, doing something. Stay relevant.
The good thing is, in those conference rooms, you don't have to run laps. It's going to be easy from a physical perspective. No problems
Yeah.
with me and all that stuff. Nobody's, timing you and stuff. So, but
That's the best part.
as we're getting to the end, normally what I do is I kind of like have some like rapid fire questions that, just, see maybe brief answer, yes, no, and stuff. So see what you got here. 100 versus 200.
100. Oh, 100. 200. 200. 200. 200.
Training or racing?
Racing.
What about morning workout or afternoon workout?
Morning.
Morning? What time are we talking in the morning?
Like, we train at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. to
9 a.m.?
11:45, 50. Then the weight room.
Okay.
It's hot in the afternoon in Florida. It's too hot.
So I heard. Yes.
Yeah, I could no.
I'm in Southern California. It seems like you have that humidity thing going on over there.
Yeah,
too.
that's the worst part about it.
Heard about it.
Worst part.
Yeah, good stuff. What's the favorite track you've ever competed at? Favorite track in general?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Just say Zurich.
Yeah, might as well. Hell. Yeah, I would say yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
Zurich,
what was the toughest competitor you ever faced?
Which event?
Who? Let's say long jump. Let's go through that.
Marcus Dendy.
Okay.
Yeah, Marquise Dendy, yeah. For long jump. The 100, that's 3 guys. I trained with 2 of them. That's Kenny Benerick, Christian Coleman, and the other guy, I would say Noah.
Okay.
For sure,
What's that, Noah Lyles? What's his name?
Yeah, Noah Lyles. He's a tough one.
Yeah. What about the fastest teammate you had?
Kenny.
Okay.
Kenny's the most consistent guy in the group with the 100 and 200. He's a tough one. And I want to say the most competitive guy versus the 200 would be Kenny. I haven't missed Kenny yet. That's coming soon. Kenny coming soon. Right now, it's just Noah.
What about the best advice you've ever received?
That's from my high school coach, doing your best at success.
What about the worst advice you've ever received?
Just run. Just run.
I could have gone easy.
If it was easy, everybody could do it. Just run.
Yeah.
No,
okay. Just run. That's very profound of a coaching statement. Awesome. Most nervous you've ever been before a race?
I would say Diamond League final. Stomach was bubbling out there.
Oh yeah.
That was bubbling. It was still fun. My stomach was, my goodness. I had to go to the bathroom so badly. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Gotta hold it. Gotta hold it. I'm about to start lying. Stomach bubbling. I can't. I gotta run.
Okay. You did it, right? You finished it. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Biggest pet peeve at the track meets?
It's
the what? Oh, yeah. Give me a list. Top 3. Sounds good.
The first one I would say, my first pet peeve is people yelling in the blocks. Why are you yelling?
Yeah. Focus, right?
Please don't yell. The second one is people who take too long getting in the blocks. Like, what? You're running in a straight line. Why are you taking so long? The third one would be people who make excuses for why they didn't run as fast. Or, just making excuses in general. Don't do that. Yeah. But if you're talking like outside track and field, like people like be like, oh, you play track? That's number 1. Hands down, number 1. You don't play track, you run it. That one gets me every time.
Oh, you play. There you go. Good. If you weren't a sprinter, what would you be doing?
In an accountant office. Being an accountant.
Wait, hold on. You're going from being a sprinter to now being an accountant in an office. What is it? You love conference rooms, suits?
That's what numbers.
It's all about numbers. Well, actually, that's not that far off. You're right. Yeah. What athlete would you like to race?
Current or non-current?
All time. Doesn't matter. One athlete would you want to race against? Let's just say 200 meter and then 100.
That's Usain Bolt. Hands down, Usain Bolt.
On both of them?
I'll race Usain Bolt in the 200 and the suffer power in the 100.
Okay. All right. I got a couple more and then we're good. But what athlete would you love to train with? There's one. And if it's different for the two, if it's 100 or 200.
I would be Usain Bolt.
Okay. Same
because our body types are very similar. So I would like to learn from him.
What's your favorite music before a race? Are you going up there like you're listening to stuff?
Chance the Rapper.
Right? Yeah.
Anything by him,
Okay.
anything by Chance the Rapper, I'm locked in.
All right. A little David Hasselhoff for you.
I
just thought
it's
about
either
because you're
that
in
or
Switzerland. That's all. But I mean, he was big. He's big out there. So last one for you. What's your favorite cheat meal? I know there's so many. You can give me top 3.
The soul food count.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything soul food. I start liking Panda Express a lot now. Don't know
Panda
why.
Express. I mean,
It
that stuff
started.
is good.
Yeah.
What do you order?
It's
What's your
something about
go-to order for Panda Express?
orange chicken, no, double orange chicken with chow mein or white rice on a plate. That
Okay.
fire. Don't know why it is, but sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah, I'm not far off. I like sweet and sour chicken.
The Chinese food. The last one, sweet and sour chicken.
Yeah.
That baby's so good. It puts me to sleep every single time.
It's. I mean, obviously
Every
that's after the race, right? Just so we're. Yeah. Yeah. From a
baby.
nutritional perspective, we didn't really cover that, but I don't think that's a part of your diet. I'm imagining.
Yeah, in the season, yeah, but like after out of the season, it does not exist.
I mean, we had a swimmer on. I'm imagining you guys are burning a shit ton of calories out there, right?
Yeah, your intake is very important. What we do.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. Not
Oh,
eating
yeah?
breakfast in the morning.
Not enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was not enough. Sometimes I would think eating like oatmeal and a banana
Yeah.
before practice was enough. Not even close. I would get a headache, after each run, and my head was throbbing. It's
How
not
much
enough.
calories are you burning in the training session?
I'll plead the fifth. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it's if I'm running and my head starts hurting, I need
Yeah.
enough.
I didn't eat enough. So if that happens, what snack are you going after then? Or is it too late? You can't refuel at this point.
At that point, you're too late.
Yeah.
It's too late because
You
your
start like
body's
cramping up, headache, and all that stuff. You can't
because
recover like this.
your body already taking all the nutrients it can take, and now
Yeah.
it's grabbing for anything it can get, and now that
Yeah.
means your body's just rejecting you now. You messed up pretty badly doing that the hard way. Fall training.
Well, Brandon, this has been really interesting. Again, I've never had anybody on that runs track and field. So, I certainly appreciate the time. This is, again, completely different. I played hockey and stuff, and I've been around team sports most. It's a completely different, approach. I think, again, the closest we had somebody on the show that was, a swimmer and all that stuff. And obviously, you have your lane as well, right? It's a little different, but
Yeah,
similar.
straight line.
Hey, I appreciate your time very much. Thank you, Brandon. All the best in the near future and safe travels to Switzerland.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Too.